never seen a smile so big on my little Lord lady's face until I tell her I'm going fishing all weekend. Pack up all of my bacon, I make plans for 7:45, then I swing around, pick up my date for the weekend. Some reason she seems to please when I'm leaving. There's something I'm missing when I'm gone fishing. When I'm gone fishing. When I'm gone fishing.
Yeah, baby.
Yes, sir. Well, there's the first slip for tonight, and I want to wish everyone a great Monday evening. This is probably the most ill-prepared I've been for a show, so be prepared for a few glitches just like that one. But to Trisha, Tony, Sally, Keith's in the house, Bill's here, Steve, Babs, Jeanette, Linda Miller. Nice to see you, Linda. And everyone else that's left a comment. Pete LeDuc, how you doing, my friend? Dave Sanderson's here. Lloyd's here. Dave Lawson, I missed you on Sunday, my friend. We'll have to meet up at some point because you do have a great story to tell. Tash is in the house. How you doing? And to everyone else, Sergio, Hortigay, Brad Norris is here from Pow Castings. Welcome. And thanks so much for joining us here on a Monday evening. And for those who joined us on Sunday at the Peterborough Tackle, Swap, and Fishing Show, boy, have we got a surprise for you. At the end, we are going to be announcing the winner, if you were at the show, of that incredible Muskoka chair, as well as the 2 rods and everything else that was surrounding the chair on it, or as Jeff would say, except the garbage. So stay tuned for that. I think Moose is going to update us on how many folks actually scanned their QR codes and became legit entries for an incredible prize pack that we're going to be giving away. Cameron's in the house. How you doing? Hope everybody had a great weekend. The Sportsman show, obviously, and the Peterborough Tackle Swap are the 2 shows that were going on this weekend. We are going to get updates and recaps from our panel, as well as at the end, I am going to be joined with Moose, Mike, Steve Shaw, and possibly Jeff Richard to give us a recap of what it was like in the OFC Nation booth at the Peterborough Tackle Swap. But I do have a couple of announcements to get to. As I said, I am ill-prepared. It's been a busy weekend, and it looks to be a busy week at work. So there is lots to get to. Obviously, the retreats. I can't emphasize this enough, and I can't mention it enough, how much is going on in CFN land. And first and foremost, of course, the Jan Lake Lodge people and our friends over at Jan Lake have offered up a couple cottages for our CFNers for a CFN retreat in beautiful Saskatchewan and the Saskatchewan waters that house not only some really big pike, but of course some beautiful, beautiful walleye. As it is right now, I believe Walter updated me and said there was a cancellation, so there is still room at Jan Lake, and we'd love to see some more CFNers there. I'm not sure what the count is right now. I believe we're at 15, but I'm sure Walter will update us on that. All you need to know as CFNers that live in Saskatchewan or have wanted to fish Saskatchewan waters, there's room. There's room for you. And look at some of these fish. Look at some of these fish that are going to be available to you. That looks like a fish fry right there, and there's lots of that to go around from what I understand. So that is our Western retreat. Walter's going to be hosting that at beautiful Jan Lake. So we look forward to seeing all the great pictures and videos that are going to come from that. And of course, without hesitation, I have to mention that we have a CFN retreat for the 4th year in a row up at Horwood Lake Lodge. And if you want just a snippet of what you have before you, if you do come, have a look. So we are just over the halfway point for the CFN retreat. That's going to be August 14th to August 20th. Hope you're going to join us. It is going to be well worth the trip up. Even though gas prices are going through the roof, the fish understand that. They're going to cooperate. They've told me, and we're going to have a great time as we always have. And as I said, this is the 4th annual CFN retreat hosted by the beautiful people over at Horwood Lake Lodge. So Warren and Doris are sitting by their phones as we speak right now, awaiting your call. So book your bed, get your butt in a bed, and make sure that you don't miss out on some incredible fishing, some great food, and a good time, a really good time. And of course, last but not least, we are proud to announce that there is going to be a 3rd retreat. Yes, I said it. It is true. Beautiful people over at Camp McIntosh. Tracy's awaiting your call. She's sitting by her phone as we speak. The weekend of September 23rd. We're going to be up here, right here. Camp McIntosh. It is going to be an OFC Nation retreat. 1st annual OFC Nation retreat. And my good buddy Moose is going to be joining me. Mike Kotzel is going to be there. And we're hoping Jeff Richard will be able to make it as well, so that it is a fully fledged, fully involved OFC Nation retreat in the beautiful waters of the French River and Georgian Bay. And this is just a snippet of some of the waters you're going to be fishing. And you don't have to go far. You don't have to go far. Literally, that is, as you're going to see, 300, maybe 500 yards from the camp. Like, it's not far at all. It's a quick little boat ride into the rapids, and there is a plethora of fish in there. So if you are looking for somewhere to go in September, I invite you to join us up at Camp McIntosh. Get a hold of Tracy Dupuis, who is, as I said, sitting by her phone right now, awaiting your call. Book your bed. We are going to be making posts so that you understand what's involved, what you owe, what you need to bring, what to expect, this, that, and everything else. We will make sure that we describe it properly and give you guys the 411 you need in order to see yourself there. And I have one last announcement, and this is kind of cool for the folks out west. They already know all about this. This is new to Ontario, and I'm not going to say too much more until we make a post, but I am so thrilled that myself and CFN are going to be a part of something that has been going on out west for a little bit of time now, and it's been very, very successful. But the folks over at Anglers Atlas and the MyCatch app have asked me to do what I can to help promote it here in Ontario, and go so far as to be the face of this incredible tournament and the incredible prizes that are available to you. I'm not going to speak anymore. I'm just going to play this video. Have a look. Yes, it is Walleye Wars. It's coming to Ontario, and we're going to be looking after it with the help of Anglers Atlas and, of course, the MyCatch app, and we are so thrilled. It's a $250 entry, but the payouts are incredible. It's literally, they're giving all the money back pretty much. So if you are a walleye fan, you love targeting walleye, this is your tournament. It's going to be 10-day. We're going to be probably having the folks on from Anglers Atlas to describe a little bit more. Good friend Dallas over there at MyCatch app. He's the one that's coordinating all of it, and we'll be discussing a lot more with him in the future. So stay tuned. If you love your walleye and you love to release them, this is the tournament for you, and you got a chance to win some incredible prizes. Now, before we bring up Jim, there's one other thing that I want to bring to your attention that I learned a lot about this weekend, and hopefully Jim, he's going to jump in and tell us a little bit more about Bruce Tuff has put this incredible concoction together. It's called bait fuel. And if you don't know what this is or how this is going to improve you as an angler, stay tuned because I'm sold. And I bought enough of it to get me through the entire summer and probably a couple summers to come. This stuff is ingenious, and hopefully Jim's going to be able to pass on a little bit more 411 for us. But before he does, here's a word from our sponsor. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. You made it home safe, Jim. It was so. Stop doing what's not working. And what is it I'm doing that's not working?
Please got my T-shirt on.
You dude, you wear it well, man. You wear it well. Oof.
I couldn't believe when I texted you this morning. Usually the Monday after something like this, but being out for the first time like that in the hotels for almost a week and everything, hey? I woke up this morning, my feet hit the ground, and I never stopped.
Jim, and I saw that firsthand. And I don't know how many times you said it as, I was sitting there, Steve was sitting there, Moose and Jeff were sitting there. You mentioned it once, you mentioned it twice, how cool it was to be able to sit in a hotel room and have a chat with a group of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you may have looked at it and thought, I'm a tough guy, it didn't bother me, But then when you get back to doing it, you realize, wow, I really missed this. I really missed it. And it's what I've done for like the last 30, 35 years. I was absolutely and truly in my glory. Doing a seminar in front of a house. They couldn't have got any more people in the area on Saturday. I mean, it was like there was hundreds and hundreds of them. And the fact that I didn't go up on the tank and I sat in the front and did it down there, it's like a fireside chat, eh? You're right up the front with them. I was getting them to help me with showing them things about twisted line and talking about rod actions and about having glass in your rods and other things. And then we spent a lot of time talking about Tokyo rigs.
What are they again?
That's something that you have to look up there still. But it was really funny. But the high point of the thing for Ron James from Fish TV and I made a comment a couple of times on Thursday it was on Friday, that's something I wasn't doing now when I fished in shallow water around gunk. I wasn't using the fluorocarbon leader. It was right to the braid because I figure in that shallow stuff like that, junk and crap, there's sometimes a little more clarity or less clarity in the water. Sometimes it's clear, but it's all such close quarters. They don't see the line. They're just focused on what they're trying to eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mentioned that, and then when we ask questions, he gets me to ask the questions to the people. So I said, "What's something that I'm not doing much anymore?" And was use fluorocarbon leader in junk. And this guy in the back row gets up and yells out, "Standing!" I think I told you about this.
You did.
It was just hilarious, eh? And it was so funny because it happened again on Saturday.
Oh, man.
A complete different group of people. and some guy yells out. And when he yelled it out, Ron and I both turned and looked at each other. And Ron said to me, "Is he a plant?" I said, "I've never seen him." Oh, it was so funny. It was but what a great crowd. You could see them, any little funny you tried to make or a little joke about things, they just, all the faces, you could see it underneath the masks.
Yeah.
You could just see it there, Yeah. It was just, it was a wondrous time. It was so great to see, you guys and sit with, you and Moose and Steve and whatever else. It was just a bunch of guys hanging out in a room, telling stories. And it don't come any better than that.
It doesn't. And, you could really, even when Moose and I went down on Friday to the Sportsman show, there was an absolute buzz in the air at that show. I was just pleased. I mean, I was so surprised to see how many kids were running through that show, as well as they were holding bags that they had purchased stuff.
Oh, I tell you, the money was flying. You know those memes that they put out about take my money?
Yeah.
Well, if you talk to the guys that were there too, they weren't using credit cards. They were coming in with a roll of cash.
Well, Jeanette was down there. Obviously, she probably hooked up with you, and she picked up a new 6.6 two-piece medium light St. Croix rod for walleye this weekend. I could use some recommendations on a reel to put it on, something light preferably, and I know exactly what you're going to suggest.
3000 series Noski.
Yeah, amen. And are they out now, Jim? Are they available in stores? Okay, so they're available in stores.
Funny thing is, I'll tell you about that. So I had a buddy drop by here last week just before I left. It was Monday or Tuesday, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I had the rod here with the Noski that I used for one of the demonstrations. And I hadn't put the reel on the rod yet. And I said to him, hey, check this out. He's one of those guys that's always in the book. It's 2.77 ounces heavier than it was for you, and whatever. It's got the calculator out. All he's missing, is the pen case and the belt thing, and the tape on the glasses. He's just he's that kind of guy. So I hand him the reel. And he's a guy that has accents, and he's got the Stratic CI4 pluses, which are ultra light. I mean, the Noski's it's a lower end reel. It isn't as light as the high end stuff, because of the materials, And I hand it to him, and I go, "Oh, this is the new one. Feel how light it is." And he looks at me and he goes, "Oh, wow, that's even lighter, I think, than my Stratic." I said, "No, it's not. I told you before, you have no idea what you're holding. You have no idea. You have no idea." And he's one of those guys who's got the calculator out, and he's telling you how much this weighs and how much that weighs. And that's why my arm got sore, because the reel weighed a half an ounce more than it did.
Yes. Well, you know what? That's why you're there. You're there to educate us, Jim, and all folks like him and like her.
So in the Shimano booth at the Peterborough Tackle Swap,
this
guy comes in and he's looking at the reels. We had the new Curado MGL, we had the new Bantam, we had a Curado 300, we had a couple of Stellas, a Twin Power. We had the high end stuff. It was probably $4,000 worth of reels just in that little pocket that was in the middle of the table. And he picks up a Stella, and he's holding it, he's turning it, and he goes like this. He goes, "Yeah, a little bump in that gear like all these Stellas." And there was guys standing around him and people there, and it just went quiet. It just absolutely
as I am. What?
Like a little bump in that gear.
Wow. He must pick locks as a second job.
Well, I'll guarantee you that the Stella's gears are smoother than any lock he's ever picked.
Yeah. Well, Jeanette, it is a 3000 series Noski. It would be the newest reels out there. You can get one of the old generation, but the newest reel, I've been told from this gentleman right there, that it's a beautiful reel. I have not.
It looks just like the Stratic now. It's not black anymore. It's a really sharp-looking product. In fact, a lot of people thought it was a Stratic. Thought it was the Stratic FK.
Yeah,
that's what they thought it was. So it's
it's a Stratic to me. I love my Noski.
And look what I got.
Hey, yes sir, yes sir.
Thanks again for those.
Well, that's Moose, and he'll be coming on later. And we have some other prizes or surprises that I was delivered to at the show. That we're going to be hold up. Yeah, you know what? I love this community. I love what they do. When George came up to our booth on Sunday and presented me, you know what? I'm going to hold it up right now, Jim. I might as well do it because I know she's probably watching. But this little bundle of joy came up and she said, "Scotty, this is for you." And Kyle was standing right there. I gave her the biggest hug, and he said at that moment, the show hadn't even started yet. He says, "You know what? I'm done. That's all I wanted to see." He said, "We could lock everything up right now." That just made my day, and it made my day when George presented me with the Ugly Boys' newest swag with the infamous "Yeah, baby." And if you're listening, George, I love you, girl. Thanks so much for bringing that to me.
Cool.
Yeah, it was. Now, Jim, we there was a lot of stuff that that was being presented at various booths, both on Sunday as well as at the Sportsman show throughout the week. But the one thing that did catch my attention is I did show just before we came to your segment is this bait fuel. And I know your buddy Bruce Tufts had a huge hand in this. Tell us a little bit about what you know and how this is going to improve us.
I don't know much about it. I haven't used it, but I know I just haven't used it because when I got it, I just haven't been out fishing since. Basically, they gave it last year. The first ones that they gave it to the guys at the Renegade Bass Classic, and I got this one of the first 100 bottles that were ever produced.
Wow!
I got number 8.
Wow!
But it's
are the first 7 still walking?
Yeah, I roughed them up. I've got the collection on the shelf over here, and how the people died that got them.
Well, Brian Doyle, I went over to his booth, and I know I probably took them by surprise, but I decided to give back to our community. And what I love about this is it's a Canadian product. It is a water-based enzyme, very similar to that of most other attractants. But here's the best part about bait fuel. When I put it to my nose and I took a sniff, I was shocked to find out it doesn't smell like anything.
No, I know. That was the first thing I did when I got it. Because Matt Massey, who's one of the guys in the company, one of the major players in the company, I took it off right in front of him, and I said, and he looked at me and just had a smirk on his face, because all these things we've always been in the past, they're always somehow just really putrid smelling almost.
Yeah.
So it's it's kind of, and I know that it really sticks to stuff, and it's in all Peter Savoya stuff, the set the hook stuff. They've got it infused into them all. So I think it's something that's going to be pretty big for them. I always regarded scents as I still believe to this day that there's no fish going to swim across the lake to get to it because you put something on it. It doesn't work like that. I think what it does is I like to think of them more as a mask than actually something. You know what I mean? It takes away anything that would be a negative cue to the fish.
Right.
It makes it positive now. Because, right. I see guys out there and they're sitting in the back of a boat. They go to the fly-in camp and they're having a great time. They got they got a beer. They got the sandwiches. They got the box of worms. They got the box of leeches. They're having a great time. They're catching walleyes hand over fist, and they get a worm and they drop it in the back of the boat down by the gas can, putting it on. And there's always a little bit of gas in the back of a boat. That little bit of water with the gas on it. Everybody's seen that. I've seen it when I was starting out too and everything. It's down there. So they pick the worm up and they put it on the hook and they throw it out and they wonder why they don't get a bite. And I said, well, like if you dropped your sandwich in the gas, would you pick it up and eat it? Why you know what I'm saying? Gas is really offensive to fish. It's absolutely horrid.
Yeah.
That's one thing they don't like. They don't like tobacco. Mm-hmm. And it's like anything to do with tobacco is tremendously offensive to fish.
Yeah.
I've seen that, and they've done huge tests with it. Nicotine is like fish just go to that and just turn away.
Well, the one thing that I will say, as I said, I love the fact that it is a Canadian company that produces this, and for that reason, we're going to be pumping their tires. And as Brian said, he was shocked that I wanted the whole box, and I said, absolutely, I'm here to help promote Canadian products, and especially something that I think is revolutionary. And I'm not just saying it because I paid for that box. And I'm a true believer in what Bruce and his team have come up with this, because it is water-based. It's not oil-based like a lot of other attractants, or as Jim would say, mass for any other smells. This is going to have no effect on your plastics. It's not going to chew away at the plastic. It's not going to fade your color. It's water-based, so it's not going to dig in or try and compete with the molecules within your molded plastic. And the thing I like, as I said, it is water-based. It's not going to immediately shoot to the surface. It's going to create that distinctive cloud that you're looking for when it comes to attracting fish. And listening to Jasper from ProJ, Moose will talk a little bit about it as well, and any of the other two panelists that are coming on. If you know a thing or two, I would love to get a commercial to find out more so I can give you guys more information. But this, regardless of anything else you purchase this summer, make sure you have a bottle of this, because if half of what I heard is true, this is gonna
Yeah, you can put it on anything too.
Yeah.
So that's
Incredible.
the nice thing about it. But it's I know there's been a lot of talk about it for a long time. It's been coming down the pipes for a long time.
Yeah.
And I got the bottle that I got came from Matt Massey, and he's one of the players in Freedom and Set the Hook and all that. And it's pretty cool. It's
absolutely
it's getting a lot of play in the U.S. too.
That's
like
awesome.
A lot of play.
That's awesome.
A lot of play. Yeah.
So as I said, Jim, you were a busy man. It was great to be back out on the road, seeing all of your fans, and whether they were young or old. There was a 14-year-old that you came across that I tell you, he is definitely a basketball player and probably will be playing on TV at some point. He was bigger than you were. Tell me a little bit.
I top out in my shoes, now at just a little over 6'4". This kid had to be what, 6'8"?
It looked like it. Standing beside you, he looked like he was 6'10".
He's wearing massive shoes, so he's wearing those track shoes that are with the big heel that looks like about 1.5 inches high and whatever. But still, just a massive kid. He's only like 14 or 16 or something.
Yeah.
But you could just tell the way he stood, his arms. Like he could scratch his knees without kneeling down.
Yeah.
Like the kid's just tremendously tall. I posted a picture of the guy called me and said, "Is that kid standing on a chair?" I said, "Look at his arms. He can use a 5-foot rod and reach across the lake to finish without his arm."
And the other thing too, you mentioned at most shows, especially back in the day, most folks would ask, well, where do I go fishing? What lake do I go catch fish? But you mentioned it again this weekend that folks are so educated that they're asking brilliant questions that sometimes test all of us on what knowledge we have about
quite often I have to take a few seconds to think. Most of the time, unless they hit me with something to do with, salmon trolling or steelhead, which are just things that I just do not do. Have not done really on my own. I've gone out and trolled for salmon with some of the best that there is. Yeah. So they see a picture with the salmon, they think you're a great salmon fisherman, and I'm always quick to point out, like, he's the guy. It's just I just reeled the fish in. Yeah. Could I learn to do it? Yeah. It's like anything else. Once you understand fishing, you could apply it. You just keep moving. And that's why, I basically have told you this before. I went from walleye fishing to muskie fishing to bass fishing, and it was just it was walleye fishing was cool. I enjoyed it.
It's what I remember you as. I know you've won a whole bunch of money catching bucket mouths, but my true love of you came when you were a walleye angler and pursued walleye. But now, as I said, multi-species. And speaking of which, you showed me a picture. You shared a picture today of some of the ice that is retreating from the waters around your area. Now, that gets the blood going. And what if you were getting set up? What would you be targeting right now if you had your choice?
Oh, crappies, and I got some stuff on the weekend. Yeah, everybody knows that I've been after the crankbaits, and that's the new Shimano, the little teeny bait. It's just I think it's 9/16 of an inch is the length on it.
Wow.
Yeah, 1 9/16 weighs 1/8 of an ounce. It's 2 to 4 feet. But last year I spent so much time catching, really big crappies in the springtime. Really, I had those pictures of them with them just choked. You'd be holding them across the gills and the line coming out the mouth. They just eat crankbaits. It's just a really, really cool thing to do. But that's a 39F, and there's a whole bunch more. I'll go over them next week because I know you got lots coming up. But I've got all the different stuff here now. These are the ones that Barry wanted me to sell to him out of the booth, and I wouldn't sell to him.
Well, I know he doesn't hold a grudge, and I'm sure he has forgiven you and understood.
Get back a second or third time. So can I buy these now? Can I buy these now?
Dude, that guy was on a spending spree. I think it was probably close to $1,000 on musky lures. I did have to remind him, I don't believe there's a lot of muskie up your way, but the way him and Sally travel, they're going to find muskie. And you know what? It's folks like Barry and Sally that make these small shows, a huge success. And we can't thank them for showing up.
Some other stuff, too, that I got my hands on. In fact, Lee gives me a bunch. He's the rep for Ontario and Quebec for Shimano. He gives me a bunch of the stuff. And I get home today and a box shows up with 48 bags in it. So it was ordered, but is the new Rhythm Wag.
Nice.
So it's like a Rhythm Wave, but see that little tail?
Yeah.
It's a really cool little tail. That's the baits right there. They come in two sizes, 3.8 and 4.8. That's the 4.8 there.
Wow.
And you can see those little tails.
Yeah.
Stop wiggling. It's like a little fat fluke tail on it type thing, but it's got those little bumps on the end. Yeah. That bait is so heavy. I'm sure that with a bait finesse Curado, I could skip these underneath docks.
Wow.
Like weightless.
Yeah.
And if you bite it, you can taste the salt in it. What's the word that they use here? High density for the amount of salt in it. Like when you look at it, you can see all the salt in it, and that's a great color. I really like that color. It's like a golden shiner.
It is beautiful. Absolutely.
But it's just something else that's we're going to use. We're going to catch a lot of fish with this year. It's just great to see all this new stuff coming. I'll go over the rest of the crankbaits next week. The different ones. There's so many of them. There's more stuff coming, and the stuff that's coming at ICAST.
Yeah, can't wait. Well, Jim,
I don't know how they keep doing what they do.
Either do I.
I've been there for 39 years now.
Yeah.
And every year I think, oh wow, I can't believe this. And they just better it and they better it and they better it. And that's the difference when you have your own factories.
Amen, brother. Well, listen, we'll get to some of those baits that you showed us and some other stuff that's coming up, potentially maybe a few ICAST secrets that we'll unveil here. But in the meantime, buddy, I tried, guys. I tried.
So the last thing we did with the joke was when we started the first seminar, I said to Ron James, I said, Ron, pinch me. And he goes, why? I said, pinch me. I want to know this is real. We're really doing this. So the day before, I scuffed my arm here and put a big mark on it.
Yeah.
And then the next day, I said to the people, I said, Ron, pinch. I said, no, don't pinch me. And I hold up my arm and I go, look what he did to me yesterday. And all the people in the front row, Ron, I thought they were going to lynch me. I didn't do that.
Yes, well, I'm glad you didn't blame it on me or any of the other folks.
Senior abuse.
That's terrible. Well, Jim, go rest up, bud. Heal up, and we will be seeing you next Monday. And thanks so much for joining us and all you do for our community and showing up like you did.
My pleasure, buddy. And it was awesome to spend some time with you on Saturday night. It was absolutely awesome. Thanks again for dinner.
Oh, no problem.
Although I shouldn't have eaten
it. Lawrence is coming up next, but here's a word from our sponsor.
When it comes to Canadian food, we've got your back with flavors like lemon pepper, beer batter, campfire barbecue, lemon pepper dill, garlic butter and chives, and crispy Cajun. We've got a mix for every meal. Whether you're serving East Coast shrimp, West Coast salmon, succulent walleye, chicken wings, or veggies, we've got you covered. Coat your food in outdoor flavors. Available online or at these fine retailers.
There he is. How you doing tonight, Lawrence?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well.
Fantastic. Well, listen, we managed to, Boos and I managed to go by your booth. You took a different approach, which was really cool. It was an unmanned booth.
We did. We noticed that at previous Sportsman shows that we're purely informational. We're not selling anything.
Yeah.
We're not twisting any arms to move any product. We're just there to answer questions. But you know what we found is that sometimes the best approach was just to step back, right? Just step back and let people look at our literature. The curious minds, right? Curious minds. And we have, we're not your typical kind of exhibit. We're about conservation. We're about promoting sustainable fishing. We have all sorts of tremendous resources that we're handing out information on, literature on, and some, a few draws to win some prizes and things like that. And sometimes people just want to browse, right? Just go into a store and look around without being harassed by a salesperson. And I'm not saying, selling is bad. Look, if you you have to pay for the cost of the booth. You need to move some product to pay your costs and pay your hotels and pay your restaurants. And then hopefully you made a little money at the end of the show. So yeah, there's a lot of emphasis on selling. But, thank you to the show organizers. We get a free space because we are a charity, because we are bringing things to give, and we're not taking, we're giving to the visitors. And people want to just have that experience of browsing. So this time we set it up a little differently. We put a TV in there. We put all sorts of lights. We set the tables up differently, and we just added all sorts of tools to make our literature accessible. A little box where they could put their ballots to, if you want to sign up for the Bluefish News, your email will be entered into a draw for some prizes. And it worked wonderfully. So I was up on the stage every morning on the Great Outdoor Seminar stage, speaking there. And then we were just checking on the booth and trying to stay out of the way of the visitors. I was happy with the result. The other thing is, we didn't have to twist the arm of any volunteers to come down and help out. Right now, just coming online, these shows, I didn't feel comfortable, and the board didn't feel comfortable twisting the arms, asking volunteers to step forward and help out with the staffing the booth. I can't do it by myself. You need at least 3 people, so 2 people can be there. One person's float in and out. There's always someone on a break. But yeah.
I digress, but every time I hear the word browse, people like to browse. I think of Pesci and Dangerfield. I don't know what the movie was. Was it Easy Money, maybe? But when they're just browsing wherever it was that they were at, I love that scene. But needless to say, there were lots of folks down there. The foot traffic, Lawrence, in case you didn't have a camera on the front of your monitor and were able to see who was gawking and looking at some of your stuff. The foot traffic was incredible. I know they were busy Saturday. They equally as busy Sunday. I couldn't believe how much was being purchased down at that show. But yeah, some of the takeaways were quite positive. For something that came together so quickly in the end, they put together a show that was, in a lot of folks' opinions, was worthy enough of the $20 entry fee.
The size of the show this year was smaller. They didn't have the last hall. They had halls 1 and 2, and they never filled halls 1 and 2. There was lots of aisles going crisscrossing, to take up space that would have been otherwise empty. So, I think we could have just taken a pass on exhibiting altogether. And I know there was some pressure on us to do so. And, but I said, no, look, we need to give the show some support in some ways. And if we put up at least a booth, even if it's not staffed, even if it's, electronic and at least it's more eye candy, something else people can look at and take something away from. And so there was a lot less exhibitors there this year for sure. But this crowd was just as big as ever.
Well, everybody wanted something to do. The thing that we saw at the Peterborough show was exactly that folks have been they've been jammed up, rammed up, and waiting to get out without, the headache of COVID cops or the chance of possibly getting COVID. And I don't want to belittle what has gone on in this world when it comes to COVID. But I know for some who have gone through it, have had to deal with it, perhaps maybe lost a family member through it. My hat's off and my deepest condolences. But it's just nice to see the world starting to get back to what we consider normal.
It was so fun to watch the masking thing, right? Like my wife and my 2 kids, grades 8 and 10 on March break. So that was my crew this year, right? We went down, the 4 of us together, and my 2 teenagers, they've never been to the Toronto Sportsman show. They come to the Ottawa show all the time with me and help out there. But, and when they were much smaller, they did the Toronto show, but that was years ago. So, to walk in on setup on Wednesday to set up, and and everyone's working away, and it's it's so exciting, right? And then Thursday morning, and you're walking Thursday morning, and all the carpets are down. It's like, wow, what a transformation from madhouse to beautiful exhibits and glorious runners everywhere. It's just it's an amazing transformation.
Absolutely. So with a few minutes left here, tell us what's upcoming in Bluefish Radio and Bluefish Canada. I know you guys over there and gals are very, very busy with everything that's going on. There are lots of news stories, and I know you're going to get your nose to the grindstone when it comes to getting us some of those news articles. But I met some great people, just to give you a little bit of a foreshadowing. Some great people that would love to come on and sort of share our time and bring to us some issues and situations that have arose in their fisheries, and perhaps maybe get some insight on what they can do, how they can learn, where they have to go, who they need to contact, this, that, and everything else. But as I said, people would really want to become more involved in this segment from your approach, and I'm really looking forward to that. But in the meantime, what's happening in Bluefish Canada news?
Yeah, so we're working with the Save the River people on that muskie spawning bed on the Upper St. Lawrence River. That's a big challenge. There's so little spawning capacity in terms of the beds and access for these big girls to go and have a successful spawn, especially with the river levels going up and down in the last few years with all the flooding and everything, and then the opening up the dams to get the lakes levels down and drying out those wetlands. Spawning habitat is more important than ever. So any sort of development that is being proposed that could ruin prime spawning habitat for muskie, a fish that's very much under pressure already with viruses being transmitted by gobies. This is a big issue, and we're right behind the Save the River in fighting for these spawning beds for muskie to be sustainable. And we've got a crew getting pulled together, some biologists, some advocates, some guides, and we'll be putting a panel discussion together on that one shortly. I think this is important. Muskie is a huge, huge tourism draw. If you can count the number of locations in North America where you can catch true trophy muskie, and the St. Lawrence River is one of those locations. So to have one, under stress like it is now, and to put more stress on that is a shame.
No, 100%. And, I want to say they are the metaphorical canary in the mine when it comes to the state of those fisheries. Usually the apex predator is the one that dies off when things are, I guess, when things get to a point where we have to have a drastic turnaround or a drastic thing happen, like a muskie dying or at least the species being eradicated, what have you. But in this case, it almost seems like the fishery is so fragile that it has more of an effect on the muskellunge than it does any other species of fish. Would you say that would be true?
It for some reason, they're the ones that seem to suffer from this virus, right? The big breeding females. And you see that in their numbers going down. And you see that in the lack of small muskie, the juvenile muskie. The experts, the scientists that I'm talking to on both sides of the river that are doing research on this, northern pike and muskellunge, they're noticing a huge drop in the amount of juvenile fish in terms of recruitment. It's just not happening as it should. And that means, when the big fish die, and they will, who's going to be left to keep the ball rolling, right? And this is really starting to worry people.
Well, and I know that Muskie Odyssey, they're going to be talking a lot about this. They have in the symposiums that have led up to this. I know there's going to be a lot more chatter, but at the end of the day, it's all about water quality. These fish, and their habitat it's so fragile to begin with. And, you think, well, okay, if one fish species dies off, well, the apex predator will just move to another species. It's just not the case with the muskie. And unfortunately, the water itself is its biggest nemesis. And hopefully we can figure this out. And hopefully Muskies Canada, who are hugely influential in getting things done when it comes to their beloved fish, can get on the right side of some decision making.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, they have the ear of the ministry. They've been supporting the ministry with their catch logs for over 40 years. It's one of the most well studied in terms of fishing pressure is the species here in Ontario.
Yeah.
So they've got some cred for sure. And plus they put a lot of money into muskie research.
No kidding. One question before we let you go. Bill Mafrock is asking, would a hatchery help in this case for the muskie?
They're doing it already. Unfortunately, the muskie they're releasing just don't seem to be taking hold. That's the problem. Even when they're putting in 18-inch, releasing 18-inch muskie into the system, they're just not surviving.
Wow. Well, we're gonna have fun learning more about that, as well as a whole bunch of other stuff that we've got in the works for you folks from Bluefish Radio, Bluefish Canada, and of course CFN. Until then, Lawrence, thanks so much for your time. Thanks so much for all you do, and we look forward to seeing you next Monday, my friend.
Thanks, Scotty. Thanks, everyone, and keep up the great work, Scotty. You truly are a whole transmission of knowledge across Canada, man, on this stuff. And it's so important, isn't it? You know, to have this vector of transmission, of getting these, you know, getting in touch with these anglers and hearing what they have to say, their questions and concerns, and responding to that, and just keeping this information flowing. You know, it really gets rid of all this misinformation. It really does a great job.
100%. And for the folks who show up here every Monday to get that 411 and the information you panel have to deliver and provide us, I can't thank you enough. Right back at you, Lawrence. You have yourself a great week, my friend.
You too, buddy.
And here's a word from Jason's sponsor before Jason Barnucz is up next. Stay tuned.
Want to know the difference between power bait and other soft plastics? Ask the fish. Berkeley scientists have. Thousands of flavors tested on thousands of fish. Natural. Man-made. Every bait that's ever hit the water. No matter the shape, size, or color, power bait is the only one that is scientifically proven. Fish bite and will not let go.
There he is, Jay Barnucz.
Hey, what's happening, Scotty?
How you doing, dude? Are you
Good.
a little tired, little exhausted from the show? I know you and Trevor were putting on. Well, you were in overtime on that show.
We had a busy couple of days. We actually went to the show on Thursday. I had a seminar to do, and I wasn't going to work the show on Thursday. I went and helped out a little bit, but I took Trevor and his good fishing buddy Owen. We went to the show, did my seminar, walked around, hung out for a while, checked out some stuff. It was like Lawrence kind of hit some of the key points there. It's a little bit downsized this year, given all the chaos that's going on. They pulled together something that they could at the last minute, more or less last minute. People have to realize these shows take months to put together. Like in reality, shows like this are being planned the day after it closes for the following year. And I think that for something that they put together in a short period of time, a few weeks, and literally, I think it was weeks, I'm not talking months, weeks, they did a great job. And it was busy. Thursday and Friday had moments where it was busy, but Saturday it was packed. Saturday,
Yeah,
to the point where I was helping out High Falls, which is the tackledepot.ca store. They're out of Belleville area, and the booth was so full that I didn't fit anymore. I went out in the aisle and I literally ran security for them, Scotty. So their booth was set up where people would come in through like an entrance, walk through, buy their stuff, pay, and then leave. But there was, with these kinds of shows, you have to be aware of loss. Okay. And I don't want to talk about negative things, but sometimes people just grab a rod and keep walking. Okay. So they literally had me running security, which I haven't been a bouncer since 2003, last time I bounced at a club or a bar. So getting a little old school, but that's literally what I did for about 2 hours, just kind of keep an eye on people on Saturday. And then Sunday wasn't as busy, but I haven't sold this many combos at a Sportsman show since I worked at LeBaron's 10 years ago in their booth at the old exhibition grounds, Scotty. Like
it's dating back a while. Yep.
yeah. And it was crazy how many combos. High Falls had lots of Abu combos. And man, we were just pumping them out. Like sometimes people were just coming up, I want a combo. I literally have a coffee in one hand and I would just pass one to them and they'd be like, yeah, that's the one I want. And they would just go. And I'm like, this is easy today. I'm just passing out rods.
Well, a lot of it, I think, has to do with, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but hearing some of the sediments, and I don't want to mention manufacturers because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus because it's not their fault. Supply chain, unfortunately, is letting them down big time. But do you think that might have had something to do with it? Obviously, we've been, cooped up in our houses for the last, 2 years or whatever it's been, and haven't been able to get to a show. But, you know, I know Moose has been on here, Jim's been on here. Like, if you see Shimano products, if you see, you know, Abu Garcia, or if you see Daiwa product, like if it's there and you have it, get a chance to buy it, because you don't know when it's going to return. And do you think maybe some of the these shows?
I think, and especially considering, Scotty, the ones who came. So the two major dealers that were there, you know, stores that were there was Pro J's and the High Falls Outfitters Tackle Depot. And, you know, they had an incredible amount of stock. Jasper and the guys from Pro J's, I think they actually like emptied their store to come down. Like, the booth was full of product, not just rods and reels, line, baits. You know, and if anyone's been to Pro J's, great shop out of the GTA. A lot of higher end tackle, but boy, at the show, they had a real good variety of stuff for everybody. It was really nice to see. But I agree with you, Scotty, about, I think some of the dealers, part of their, you know, when you're going through pros and cons of attending a show like this, they were worried probably about how much stock they would have to bring to the show.
Yeah.
Because you're basically, you have a shop, and they have their home shop, and then they have the show, and they have to staff both. They have to have stock for both. They have to manage both. And so I'm sure there was some concern about having enough stock in place. And I'm sure that some of them didn't want to gamble with, will we even be allowed to have a show? Because all that planning in advance that's needed, right? So kudos to those who came and fought through it. Had an excellent chat with, I tried to get around a bit, but I was so busy. Like, the only really 2 days I was there was Saturday, Sunday, and I was walked off my feet. And I talked to a lot of people, but I think a lot of people, you don't recognize each other because a lot of us were still wearing masks, right? So
it's true. And that was the unfortunate thing about the Sportsman show and the Peterborough Tackle Swap and Fishing show, is that they were just, you know, a couple days later, you know, than or earlier, I should say, than they needed to be. Because, you know, if we had it this weekend coming, of course, we wouldn't have had those things. But at the same time, you know, again, I don't want to talk about it anymore because it's been talked about enough. But you know what? Let's just say this: it was great to see that many people, whether it be down at the International Center or at the Moreau Building in Peterborough, together enjoying fishing and getting together again. Like, it was just awesome.
Yeah, that's really what
I will say this, though. It was an honor for me when I think Bill was the one that posted the itinerary when it came to who was going to be doing presentations at the tank. You know, to see your name there, Lawrence's name there, Jay's name there, and we have the pleasure of having the three of you here each Monday, and to be held, you know, esteemed enough that you know you're presenting at the tank. The true honor was ours, and I tell you, I can't thank you enough for what you do, and Jim and Lawrence each Monday. But you know, as I said,
I'm not sure who's Larry or Curly, but I'll definitely be Mo if I have to. Right? I have a story from my teenage years about the backseat of a police car with three of us, and the police officer asked us who's Larry, Curly, and Mo. That was what I was, and that story has carried me my whole life. That funny police interaction story, but. Yeah, you know, like, it was great to be on stage with and see everybody there, and it kudos to. I never got to see Lawrence, unfortunately. I knew where he was. I just never got away. There wasn't a lot of downtime for the days I was there. I did send you a couple quick pictures. I don't know if you're able to open up your Facebook Messenger.
I can. Yeah, I can. Let me just go. I won't be able to share them. It wasn't.
That's okay. That's all good. So I got a really cool selfie up on the tank. So on the Saturday, so there's my sidekick. So Trevor worked his first day as a pro staffer for Berkeley in the Pro J's booth. So Trevor worked with Darren Azumi. And, you know I realize that Darren has the family name, but don't think he's given a lot. Darren works his butt off as an ambassador for Pure Fishing. And, it was great to see him and Trevor working hand in hand. The two of them kicked my butt for sales on Saturday. They killed it. Yeah, wow. Absolutely did. They did a great job. And then I kind of came out on top on Sunday, but it was just a different group of people, different stuff, but it was great. And on the way home, Trevor's like, "Dad, my legs are killing me." And I'm like, dude, you're 14 years old. You're not allowed to complain about tired legs. I'm going to tell Jim that you have tired legs at 14. Jim's going to send you to Ambassador boot camp at some point.
Boot camp, absolutely.
Boot camp.
So there's you on top of the tank, and of course, a resounding crowd around you that I'm sure we're enjoying every minute of what it was that you were sharing with them. What were some of the things that you talked about to the crowd?
You know what? I actually talked, my seminar was about just kind of different setups for different applications. And, you know, with the typical group at the Sportsman show and the way Ron, and I love how Ron and Leo and Jeff do their seminars, their fish TV stage. It's short. You have basically, I have 20 minutes to deliver a seminar. You don't get into a lot of detail. You just want to give folks the basics. So I just talked about some basic setups that they might want to consider this summer, and some lures that they might want to try based on different situations. And what's great is, Scotty, is after what I love about seminars is when you come off the stage, you take off the mic and you get your gear and you start walking away. And there's always a small group of people that just want to hear more about it. And you get to have those one-on-one interactions and ask people where they're from and what they like to fish for and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, even that's what I love about going to the trade shows. Is that even in the booth, Scotty, like when I'm in there, I know I'm pushing product, I'm helping to sell product, but my approach is not, here's my approach, man. I'm going to walk up to you, Scotty. I'm going to say, hey, where are you coming from, man? Where are you coming from today? And, you know, you're going to tell me. And then I'm like, oh, what do you like to fish for? You know, and I want to know what lake is your favorite lake. What's your favorite species of fish? I will go through all these questions before I even ask, you want to buy a rod or reel today? You know, because you might just be browsing. That's great too. I'll shake your hand and say, if you want to look at something, come see me later. I know I'm a big guy, but I want to be as non-confrontational, and I'm just there to talk fishing because that's all I want to talk about. It's fishing. Yeah. Right. So if I sell you a rod or reel or a pack of bait in the process, that's icing on the cake. Right.
Absolutely. And you know, nobody does it better. We were talking about some of the stuff that you and I have been involved with. I think the first time that I met you face to face was at East Hill when Fear Fishing was having that. And I mean, it's that kind of grassroots effort that goes a long way. And needless to say, I think it's absolutely fantastic that you're passing this down.
Yeah, 100%. And I will say this. I will put it out there that I received a few razzy, borderline insulting, but I'm pretty thick-skinned text messages that I wasn't in Peterborough on Sunday because I was at the Sportsman show, and I know those people that were razzing me, it's just because they wanted me to be in Peterborough, but I couldn't be in two places at once. And part of why I went back to the Sportsman show on Sunday was the Pure Fishing staff were so pleased with our efforts on Saturday. They said because no one knew how busy it would be, Scotty, so they sent us back on Sunday, but Peterborough was on the radar, and I wanted to go, but just didn't happen this year.
You were there. Listen, dude, you were there in spirit, and that's all that matters. But you know, at the end, you have obligations, and I don't blame you. And it was a shorter trip for you, needless to say. So I don't blame you on that.
Half the drive. It wasn't. Peterborough's a 6-hour round trip. Mississauga's an hour and a half.
So, of all the things that you walked around and witnessed, because I'm sure you did a lot of that. This, again, I can't mention it enough. This bait fuel was the newest fad that I saw, and I don't want to call it a fad because that's not giving its proper props. But this fish attractant was what sold me. Was there something that you saw that caught your eye as something new, and you're going to definitely can't wait to try?
Yeah, actually, I had a good long conversation, a couple good long conversations with Darren Ford over at Das King Kayaks. And I don't want to divulge what's happening, but had some good conversations with some Canadian-made kayaks for like a big kayak for maybe a big person. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that as things develop. But,
is it going to be called Das Boot?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of like a Ramstein kind of thing. I'm half German, so I can talk about Ramstein. If anyone's into some serious hard German metal, that's what I might name it. We'll see what happens. But you know what? Darren actually and his staff over at the Das King booth were great. I didn't realize all their stuff is built in Canada. Their kayaks I knew they're out of Collingwood, but I didn't realize how just truly Canadian that company is, and I follow kayaks pretty closely because I used to be a kayak guide locally around here. And so I was impressed with what he's got with his staff and his products. So that was that, and I've had some really good conversations with some of his pro staff at the same time about different setups and situations. So that was really great. But, man, in the end, there wasn't a whole ton of new stuff at the show, Scotty, because I'm so spoiled, like you and Jim and Lawrence and a bunch of us are so spoiled. We see this stuff coming out months before. It's not new anymore, but it's new. It's nice to see it there, right? Mm-hmm. But there's still stuff I'm waiting to see come out. I might have bought a few packs of Berkeley Max Scent, which even though I can get at a discount, but sometimes I can't get what I want because they're not in stock. So when you see it, you buy it. So I did pick up a few packs of Berkeley Max Scent from the show. And I know there was a couple of pro staff from other companies that were a little surprised that Jay Barnucz was buying Berkeley at retail price. But even Darren Azumi admitted he's just as guilty of that bug as anybody else. So it was great to see some of that stuff there too. But yeah, I can't say other than it was just great to see so many people out enjoying, and I hope that we can do more than next year. So
amen, brother. Amen.
Yeah.
I know that Bruce Downs was asking, are you heading to the Ancaster show?
I'm not going to the Ancaster show. I honestly had thought about going, and I might show up. I wanted to get a table there this year.
Yeah.
I've just been so busy. I have to confess, the week before March break, so this past week was March break, Heather's folks had an apartment fire, and not in their apartment, but the one above. Oh. And so we've been busy the last week or so, helping them deal with insurance claims, water damage, like everything was not ruined, but you can imagine if your apartment is on the 3rd floor and the 4th floor is a major fire, all their stuff is pretty much ruined. So we've been super busy helping them with that. So sometimes, like, to prepare for a show like that, your mind's not in the right place, and it's kind of, I don't know. I'm kind of, after the Sportsman show this weekend, I'm a little bit tapped out right now mentally. So I need to take a few days to think if I'm going to go this weekend. So
I 100% feel you. And it's exactly how I felt getting ready for tonight. It was just not enough time. And
we haven't had busy weekends in 2 years.
I know.
Right? I know. Like, so we're not mentally there anymore. For years, Scotty, we would be very used to doing a trade show for 3-4 days, going back to work Monday morning. Sure, you're run down, but you're kind of mentally used to it.
Yeah.
But we haven't had to do that in over 2 years. So I was pretty wound down this morning.
It was well worth it. It's a good tired to be, good rundown to be. But I'm sure you're going to get out fishing at some point this week. Where are you going to go and what are you going to target?
It's all going to depend on the weather. I'm hoping we get a little bit of warm weather, but it's looking like a wintry mix most of this week. Yeah. So I'm not sure yet. I know the suckers are starting to run. I need to replenish some of my catfish bait. That's gotta happen soon. This is the season to do that. Been busy doing fish lifts, Scotty, down here with the guys, counting rainbows going over the local dam. Cool. Been helping out with that. So the rainbows are moving, and there's more rain coming this week on the forecast. So yeah, as whatever I can do, Scotty, this week fishing wise, I'll get out. I hope to get out, but we'll see what the weather holds. So
absolutely right on. Well, Jay, thanks so much as always for what you do and who you are and what you bring to our community. It means the world to us, dude. And keep up the great work.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Fantastic. Now, before we bring in the clan, the group that made the OFC Nation booth, I wanted to present you the answer to the Barry and Sal Backroads Adventures giveaway. Take it away, Barry and Sally.
G'day, folks. Barry and Sal here at Graceland. This little video is for a giveaway we have for our
Backroad Adventures jersey.
So the amount is
4,459 pictures. Yep.
Here at Graceland.
And we're out of room.
And we're out of room.
Yep. There's only enough room for a few more.
We got cupboard doors. So from Barry and Sal here at Graceland, you know the amount now. So you're all having a cup of coffee with us here in the morning. Or tea, right? Sorry. Fuck.
CFN proud.
CFN proud. Fish on.
Hey,
What's up?
Hey,
everybody.
now 4,459 pictures on the walls of.
Insane.
Is that not crazy?
I'd love for them to do a recount.
So I can announce this right here, right now. Michelle Tompkins was the closest guest that didn't go over the number. She guessed 3,500 pictures. She was 1,400 and some away. But congratulations to Michelle Tompkins. This is going to be yours, courtesy of BACKROAD Adventures and Barry and Sal. So big shout out to both Barry and Sal for doing a fantastic giveaway. And of course, BACKROAD Adventures is made by Fish Whip Apparel and our good friend Babs French, who made it down to the show. Lads, I can't say it enough. It was an absolute honor to share your time this Sunday. Moose and Steve setting up on Saturday. It was phenomenal to see the effort that went into it. It looks like, Moose, you've done that before. You, Sean, and Mark, the three. It was like you'd done it in your sleep.
You know what? We've had years of training with Pilata. He's put us through the ropes. He's yelled. He's screamed. He's locked us up in dark rooms. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to share this, and you folks, the five of us, we saw it firsthand. But for anybody who didn't go to the Peterborough show, just to give you an idea, this video was taken, I think, at around noon, and that is the lineup that went all the way down. If you're familiar with this area, that is the Moreau building. This went all the way down to Locke Street and then along Locke Street. And this was around noon. That's how many people. And of course, the fire code would only allow so many people in at a time. So they had to be very, very careful. Kyle did a fantastic job. And I would have loved to have had him on tonight, but I'm sure him and his beautiful wife are exhausted after what they endured this weekend and loved every minute of it. And I have to say, I'll start with you, Jeff. The show was a complete success. You agree?
I don't know if you can say anything other than that, Scotty. I think there was a lot of unknowns that Kyle and his inner circle had to kind of dwell on, even just putting on an event after 2 years, no one knowing what was going to happen. I mean, everybody knows we wanted to get back out into doing something, but the amount of risk and, the research that Kyle had to do to be able to put this show together and have the confidence shows that the community has a very strong knit core of people that made it happen, and we weren't going to let anything take that away from it.
100%. Mike, you were busy getting everybody outfitted in the new CFN Fish Off swag. I know we had quite a few of our CFNers come around and get fitted, but I'll tell you, what I heard for the folks like Jeremy who had it on and a couple others that were walking around the show, they absolutely love them. And if anybody is interested in getting one of those CFN Fish Off hoodies, where would they go, Mike?
So we're making order number 2. Order number 1 is done. People are wearing them. It's so cool. Like, I had to go outside, grab some stuff, and I see people in the line wearing the same hoodie that I'm wearing. And it's like, oh, that is so cool. Or I'm walking around other booths while I'm on my break and seeing other people wearing them. And whenever I'm on Facebook and I see other people from BC all the way to PEI wearing CFN jerseys, it just amazes me how big, but also how tightly knit our CFN community is. So kudos to everyone who is part of this community. And if you want to sport some CFN Fish Off swag, we're making our second order, and you got to go to cfnfishoff.com. Order deadline is the end of the month. So you have till the end of the month. And we promise if you order before the end of the month, you will have your CFN zip up hoodie before the spring Fish Off.
What was your biggest takeaway from the show, Mike?
Is that I went to so many vendors, and so many vendors there are CFN sponsors. And I said, hey, is this your first show since COVID? And they're like, yeah, this is our first show since COVID. And so it seems like a long time. It also seems like a short time, but it's crazy how this is really the first time we've all been able to get together in person.
100%. Now, I will say this, the man of the hour, and I can't thank this gent enough, Moose. If it wasn't for him, there would have been no OFC Nation swag. There would have been absolutely no CFN swag. There would have been no stickers to give away, whether it was OFC Nation, or CFN. Moose, you, again, a huge effort, and I can't thank you enough on behalf of everyone that got a chance to take home a sticker or something else. But we're going to be giving away something even cooler tonight. Tell us a little bit more about the prize pack.
Yes, sir. Well, first, I want to say thank you to you guys, because without y'all, it wouldn't have happened. Thanks to Mike and his speaker. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Jeff, thanks for coming out, buddy. I appreciate you. Steve Shaw, if it wasn't for you and your snoring, I would have gotten a lot more sleep.
Yeah, the chat.
I second that.
I deal with that every night.
And I've carried it around
The championship
so
belt.
long. I'm going to hand it off to one of these 4 gentlemen. I think the winner of the trade show belt for the Peterborough Fish and Show and Tackle Swap goes to none other than, you ready for this? Steve Shaw.
Yeah.
Not only did he lug and slug tables for hours, but he had to put up with me and my snoring and my smelly feet. But Steve, man, I can't tell you how much it was. I loved it. I loved hanging out with you at the hotel room, telling stories. I'm back to smoking, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm no longer. Well, I am vaping as well, but I indulged in a couple of cigarettes. And then Scotty and I, and all 3 of us, actually, we had some drinks and had some wicked conversations with Big Jim. Big Jim, next year you might be up for the belt, buddy. But right now, Steve holds the title.
He's got to get through me first.
Right on. Well, on that note, let's bring in the man of the hour, Steve Shaw. You know, Steve, that was your first show, basically helping us run the booth. I want to just echo what Moose just said. It was a huge honor, rubbing shoulders, and we were at many times during that show rubbing shoulders because of the number of people that were through the OFC Nation booth. But what was your biggest takeaway from this past Sunday?
Yeah, it wasn't my first. I've actually did the Barry show there a few years ago, but for me, I got to actually witness it from beginning to end. So I was never around when the setups and all that stuff was going on. So, you know, you're aware we had to wait for the farmers market to get finished for the day, and then we kind of went in there and we swept that entire floor, and I think we set up well over 200 tables or whatever it was. But my biggest takeaway was seeing so many youngsters with new fishing poles and fishing reels. And when we handed those little stickers out to those kids, man, oh man, it just made their days, right? You know, and for me, you know, so many people I've done edits for and, you know, communicated with online with, I finally got to see them in person and have conversations with them, right? Which is really special to me. But for me, it was the kids, you know, they were so happy. And there was a ton of fishing rods that were going through that front door, right? I couldn't believe it.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, we've already started with Mike. We'll do a roundtable. You have told us quite a bit. Was there any one takeaway that you can remember from Sunday that truly was a great memory or a great time of the day?
Uh-oh. Did you guys freeze?
You there, Steve?
You talking to me?
Yes. Yeah.
Me?
Yeah. Was there one particular takeaway that you thought was just above everything else?
Dude, I got to share a hotel room with yourself, Big Jim, those two guys down there in the bottom, right? So does it get any better than that? I don't know whether there was a lot of BS spread around there, but there was some pretty wicked stories, and I'm a better person for it. And I appreciate all you guys for that. Thank you very, very much.
I appreciate Steve not judging me for going back for second rounds of the breakfast at the hotel.
Yeah, that was good though, right? Yeah.
Jeff, you're up next, buddy. What was the biggest takeaway for you from the show?
You know what, Scotty? I think for me, I was just, and I really didn't know how I, was going to feel because Moose, myself, we've done a bunch of shows and stuff, and you kind of think, okay, it's just going to be the same old deal. But I think from this 2-year hiatus, and I've done nothing but renovations and work like everybody else have, and I was just happy to see people other than work people.
Amen.
It was great. You could tell other people were on that same level. They just, whether it's just wanted to talk fishing or just see people that, they normally did. So I think it was a piece of normalization coming back for everybody. Seeing some friends that normally, I'm sharing a boat with from time to time that, just been the odd occasional phone call saying, hey, I still got a pulse. But this weekend was something that you could actually hey, they are still alive. They do have more gray hair and maybe put on a few pounds, but it was still them. And you know what, Moose kills me. This guy should be like a radio star or something because he kills me. When he was trying to liquidate those T-shirts, like dollar T-shirts, if you're touching the rack, 25 cents. So it's gone. This guy is made for this, and I don't know how he has not hit what do you call that, Hollywood? Because I'm just trying to hold on to him because if he ever does, and when he does, I hope he doesn't forget me.
That's it. I couldn't agree more, Jeff.
He's priceless.
Absolutely. It was the price of admission. If you were there when the mic came and Mike brought in the speaker, it was well worth the price of admission. Anybody was there, and whether they had the deer in the headlights look when he was going on about the price of shirts, it was something to be.
That's what I mean. You can't pay for a ticket.
No.
Like with this guy, it just everything comes. I just sit back and just listen because it's just comical. I love it.
So Moose, we have.
How were we going to get people to the booth? It clearly wasn't my pretty face that was going to bring them into the booth. But when the T-shirts started off at $15 and nobody paid attention, they paid a lot of attention when I said $1 T-shirts. Next thing you know, they were like, "Hey, I'm going for a $1 shirt." I'm like, $1 off the next 10 seconds. Oh, they're back to $5. But it got people. It at least got people interested, right? So.
Oh yeah, it was great.
100%.
It is. I wouldn't go as far as Hollywood, but and it's true. I do have the face for radio, which is fantastic. Been there, done that, though. Been there, done that. I did radio for 5 years, actually.
You can tell.
It can tell. It's good. It's great.
100%. 100%.
Problem is I can't read. My spelling is awful.
Yeah. I second that too.
We have an incredible prize pack that has been offered up, and I can't thank your brother Moose enough for putting that chair together, as well as all of the work that you did to customize it as an OFC Nation chair. But we're going to be giving that away, as well as the Symmetry combo. We also have a Cellus combo. We have the Bait to Go Outdoor flavors, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff on top of that. How many people did we get to scan that QR code?
So we got 205 entries. I think the Wi-Fi in the building, the reception in the building wasn't the greatest, but we had 205 entries successfully entered. So some people may not have hit the submit button and just turned their phone off and put it in their pocket. Some people may have, gotten distracted with the million and one other wonderful things that was happening at the show. But there are 205 people that have entered, and I had the pleasure today of cutting up all these little tiny numbers because I'm old school, right?
Hey, Moose.
Yeah.
Before you draw that, I have a question. I don't think I asked you actually. Can we order one of those Adirondack chairs off of you?
Okay. So here's what I'm going to tell you guys.
I want one.
You put me on the spot, bro.
I didn't enter the contest, but I want one.
Yes, you can order one of the chairs. So My brother does make the chairs. Obviously, the cost of wood has gone up since we started the production on the Muskoka chairs. And we do customize them. So we can laser engrave the arms of the chair, the back of the chair, and the front panel of the chair. When they're going back into production, I don't know. But if you want to put in an order, I will slide it through with my brother, and we can get things rolling. But the chairs, they're one of a kind, right? And you can customize them with whatever you want. From a picture of your dog to your favorite fish to a brand, a company. If you want to put in your measurements of your bum on the seat, it doesn't matter. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. So yeah, you can order one for sure, 100%.
All right, that's cool.
Yeah, right on, buddy. Well, without further ado, as I said, I can't thank Kyle enough and his beautiful wife for putting on a fantastic show, and of course, all of his assistants and helpers, like the Mark Hunters, the Sean McCalls. I mean, it was a huge team effort, and all I can say is kudos to the Peterborough Tackle Swap and Fishing Show. You folks put on a heck of a show, and I can't wait till next year.
It was very cool. There's a few characters behind the scenes that I didn't know the name of. I hadn't met them, but super nice people, super cool group of folk. You can't say enough about McLaughlin, Hunter, and Kyle. The three of them are just, if you look up the definition in the Urban Dictionary of beauty, you'll see a photo of all three of those guys. I'm telling you, they're incredible people, man. Great people.
100%.
Mark Hunter loves the dinger. So next time you see him, talk to him about the dinger.
Right on.
But let's move on. I do have a confession. Steve, you put those rods beautifully in my car. Like,
oh no,
nothing could go wrong. Nothing. Until I go to unpack. So someone out there is going to get 3/4 of a rod.
Oh no!
Someone else is getting half of a rod. Yeah. So lucky me. I've got 2 broken rods, but no worries. I'm going to replace them. I promise. So I've got
put them together.
I've got 1 Symmetry and 1 Celis. They're half off. If anybody's interested.
What happened? What happened?
Oh man!
Why would you make a Symmetry?
I had too many things in my hands. I was unpacking. I was at the cottage, and I was moving stuff out of the car. And I grabbed my toiletry bag and I moved the rods. And yeah, next thing you know, slam, snap, crackle, pop. And
no.
Whatever. I'll replace them. Ladies and gentlemen, whoever's going to win tonight, you are getting 2, not 1. You know what? Actually, we spoke about this, Scotty. Why don't we split it up into 3? Since there's 3 bait to go, a chair and 2 rods, why don't we do 3 drops? I'm in.
That works.
Done. That way I disappoint 3 people. So 205 entries. All the little tabs you can see were cut up. We're going to pick a number, and these guys are going to chat amongst themselves. I'm going to go down the list of emails, and the number that coincides with the email is going to be the winner. So what do we want to draw first?
This will be for the Celis combo with the Noski reel and one of the
reel. It's not a Noski reel.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It's a Sienna reel.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
It's a half a rod though.
So Celis rod with the Sienna
rear
reel.
drag.
That's right.
It's great for ice fishing.
I think Moose is the only guy I know that can have things go wrong to himself other than me. I love it.
Man. Okay, you guys ready? Here's all the numbers. You see them?
Let's do it.
Hey Moose, there's an app for that, eh?
Linda, listen. I'm old school, all right? So number 188. So I'm gonna have to go down the list. I know exactly what their list is. It's in my emails. Number 188. You are going to win Celis rod and reel. So number 2 is going to be for the symmetry rod and reel combo. Okay. Number 2 is the symmetry rod and reel combo, and that's going to go to number 192. Number 192. So I'll keep those separate so I don't mess them up. And the 3rd number is going to be for the Muskoka.
Sure. Yeah.
The customized
37.
What's that?
I'm guessing 137.
137. Is that what you're
Yeah,
guessing?
that's my pick.
Let's
Try.
see if your pick is right. 15. Number 15.
Not even
Close.
close.
Not even close. So, guys, talk amongst yourselves for a minute while I pull up these names and go.
Awesome.
Well, Mike, I'll talk to you next. Obviously, there was many things that happened. Of course, you've shared with us your biggest takeaway. One of the things that we all are looking forward to is this ice disappearing and getting out on the soft water. What are you going to be targeting first, and what species are you going to be going after?
That is a question I cannot answer. But what I can tell you is that the CFN Fish Off is happening May long weekend. So for all you itching, so many throughout the show, when is registration opening for the CFN Fish Off? What's the date of the CFN Fish Off? It is opening shortly. So April 1st, we're going to start opening registration, and it'll start May long weekend. And so people, get your partners ready. And we are looking to exceed last year's. I think we had just over 600 anglers registered last year. So we're looking to exceed that, and it's exciting times.
Right on. Jeff, Dylan LeBlanc tournament. It's the OFC charitable tournament.
Yes, sir.
We have a date picked. Is there anything? Well, maybe we should just let them know that there is a tournament or
Yeah,
event going on.
Yeah, right now, Scotty, I'm working on the venue. I have a place in mind. It's actually one of our community members. She's in Cuba right now, and she doesn't come back till the 23rd. So on the 23rd, I'm going to have a nice lengthy conversation with her and go over some details. I mean, there's lots of things I have to, work on with lodging and such like that. But just going by the amenities that her resort has, it seems like it could be the place.
Yeah.
It's a really busy summer, and it's not just this summer. It's very hard to find a weekend that works for everybody. And I'm already going to apologize to people that I'm not going to be able to, and I know they want to be there and stuff. It's just impossible to get everybody there. But I know, and from past entrants that have been there, they love the event. And as soon as I knew that this was going away, this COVID stuff, and we were going to have a chance to put this thing back on, I immediately, it just lit me up, because I know everyone loves doing it. And as much as I can go bananas organizing it, I love doing it. And it's going to have some quick traction. And I think a lot of people, once I do get those details ironed out, I'll get them out there as soon as possible so people can make arrangements. In the meantime, I'm working on my piano. Check that out.
Well, thanks for that, Jeff. We look forward to it.
I don't even know how to play the piano, Scotty.
I kind of figured that, dude.
Did I fool you with this background thing? Look at this.
No, dude, no.
I was like, what place looks amazing.
There's a clock chasing
Nice
you.
place.
You might want to have a look at that. Steve, I know we can't emphasize it enough. You do some fantastic work with Walter, and thanks to Walter for looking after the inbox over the weekend, as busy as it was. But something that I know we can't emphasize enough to our community. If you are looking to get one of the beautiful edits done by mostly Steve, sometimes Walter, and very rarely me, where do we send our pictures?
Just put it in the message box, guys. When you go on the page, just put it in the message box. It makes our life a lot easier. And just, if you're entering a child or whatever, put the child's name down there, because sometimes they'll say, this is my son, and then we'll have to respond back later and wait. And, well, what's the son's name? And, blah, 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 right? So that's
Have you ever put in, my son instead of their name? This is my son. So
no, I wouldn't do that. Scotty would boot my arse.
Once or twice, Moose. Yeah, once or twice I've had to do it. Yeah. Once or twice.
And I just want to echo what Jeff was just talking about. I did that event and I gave them a hand there about 3 years ago, I think now, Jeff. And it was an absolute blast. And, that kind of, brought me into that community, I guess. It was the very first thing I actually did with OFC, right? And it was really, really cool. And the volunteers and all that were really helpful. And Scotty's an outstanding cook and, all that kind of stuff. But, yeah, I mean, I think
people make the tournament.
everybody, walks away happy, and it's a great time, right? So I'd recommend it to anybody that, wants to do it. Just have at it.
Fantastic, Steve. Well, Moose, I've done my best to stall as best I can. It looks like you're ready with the names, the numbers.
I am.
Who we got?
I want to add one more thing to that the OFC charity tournament. Way back when it was just Jeff's work thing, and then OFC ended up taking it on. The coolest thing, and it almost brought me to tears a couple of years in a row. But the last year you were there, Scotty, as well. Me, Jeff, Scotty, we were all there. And it was one of the larger ones. Every check we handed out to one of the winners, they turned around and said, "We're donating this back to the club."
Yeah.
Every single one of them, every dime. I think there was like 2, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe $5,000 in winnings. And every single one of them donated back to the club. So not only did the charity make money, but everybody said, "Hey, this is going to go back to the club, or this is going to go back to the charity." And it was incredible. It was a pretty cool sense. Jeff was frustrated. He's like, "Do you know how long it took me to put these checks together?"
It cost me $1 writing that check.
But it was amazing. It just goes to show you the caliber of support. The caliber of support is there's never a lack of support within our networks, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Right on.
But
well, we have a winner with us. Michelle Tompkins has joined us. Michelle, if you didn't hear, you are the winner of the BACKROAD Adventure giveaway. Your guess of 3,500 pictures on the CFN Wall of Fame in CFN Graceland at Barry and Sally's house. You were the closest guess. 3,500. The actual number is 4,459. Michelle, you were the closest without going over. So congratulations to you.
That's like printing every photo on my iPhone and framing it.
Right.
That's exactly what it is.
You know what? Speaking of printing, I wish they'd lived near me. I could have made some money off that. I mean, I do own a print shop. Things are slow, Barry and Sally. You look this guy up, all right?
All right, Moose. So this will be.
All joking aside. So I've got the 3 winners in front of me. The beautiful part is I have no clue whether or not they are existing followers or they're new followers. So if you're an existing follower, you deserve to win. If you're a new follower, welcome to the club, baby. So
Thank you.
the first rod is the Celis rod and reel combo. We have Courtney Wade.
Nice.
Courtney Wade.
I have your email address and your contact info. I will send you an email. Congratulations to you. Courtney, my friend, lives in Ajax.
Nice.
Nice.
Courtney, I will set up a time.
Helps with the shipping.
I can ship deliver, or you can pick up. Number 2, the Symmetry Rod and Reel combo goes to Jessica MacArthur. Jessica MacArthur.
That was tough.
Congratulations to you, Jessica MacArthur of Peterborough. Jessica MacArthur of Peterborough. I got to go back up to Peterborough twice a week, so I will make arrangements with you as well. And
paper towels.
Last but not least, Mike McRae.
Nice going, Mike.
Mike McRae, congratulations.
Well done.
Good job.
The Muskoka chip. So, Mike, I will reach out to you.
Nice.
And make arrangements with you as well. Hold on. Quickly, just going to plug my phone in because it's telling me it might die. But that's it. That's it. That's all.
That's awesome. Congratulations with the people that have fast enough internet.
I tell you, and I hope that Mike is as excited at winning as Jasper was when he won the CSFL. He took that on a lap around the Morrow building.
I'm gonna. It's actually entered as Mikey McRae.
Mikey McRae.
McRae.
Nice.
All right.
Either way, we've got his phone number, we've got his email. We'll get in touch with him.
I'm not sure if you guys follow, but if you don't, I'm sure you will after this. So before you let me go, I just want to let you guys know that we do have another Symmetry combo up for grabs for the March My Pick of the Month giveaway. So at the end of the month, you'll see the post on the OFC page, and I will share it to the Canadian Fishing Network page as well. It is a monthly giveaway. So I just pick things that I like to use, and I make a suggestion on stuff that I think others might like to use. So some of them are supporters and sponsors, some of them are not. But I do give away monthly. So make sure you keep an eye out for the pick of the month. And last thing I want to mention, because you mentioned it earlier, Scotty, was the bait fuel. And I know how excited you are about it.
Oh, buddy.
So I shared a bit of literature about bait fuel and a video on both pages. I highly recommend that you guys go and watch this video. It'll make more sense. We can only tell you so much, but let the science behind it speak for itself. I mean, Amen. Science doesn't lie. Science doesn't lie. And the formula that these guys created is brilliant. Brilliant. We talked
Moose.
about it over and over again.
I have earth-shattering news. This just did. Mikey Crooks McRae is with us as we speak.
Oh,
boom, baby. Mikey, hold on. You spelled your name. That's right. Are you from Oshawa? Are you the Mikey McRae from Oshawa?
I'm gonna say it is. Yeah.
Did I win, Mikey? Congratulations, buddy! I don't
Way to go, Mikey!
Moose is gonna send it to you with an Allen key.
Somebody from Durham region. It wasn't like somebody was coming down from like Kenora or Timmins. Well, he didn't come down from Timmins, but
thank God.
I was like very
New
thankful.
Liskard.
Right? Oh, that's funny stuff.
Mikey, congratulations, buddy. Congratulations. You won yourself a Muskoka chair engraved by this guy. And Courtney and Jessica, I will email you guys. And that's that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
He says he's from Oshawa. He's from Oshawa, Moose. So
fantastic. I will have to confirm. I'm going to send you an email. You have to reply to that email. That is the only way I know it's you. So if you put your email in correctly, then it's you. If you
or you enter waypoints.
What's that?
Yeah.
Or he can enter waypoints.
Yeah. Lots of waypoints.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, lads, listen, we've hit the hour and 30 minutes. I'm just stunned that there's been so many people still with us. I can't thank you all enough for a fantastic weekend and all your efforts and all your work and your continued work to build what it is that OFC, CFN, and the OFC Nation is and what it hopes to become. But again, you guys are gems. Can't thank you enough, and I appreciate your time tonight.
Thanks, everyone.
Welcome,
Thank
Scotty.
you, buddy.
Great to see everyone.
Bye for now.
Bye.
I'm gonna go back to the piano.
All right. Well, there's the end of our show. Thanks to everyone who we saw on Sunday. Ava and, of course, the OWA ladies coming over and chatting with us, and everybody else at the show that chatted with us. Really appreciated all your time, all your efforts. And, of course, I can't extend my thank you enough to Kyle and Leanne. You guys did an awesome effort, and it was truly appreciated by a lot of people. Sean, Mark, Moose, Jeff, Steve, Mike, and everyone else that was there. Big Ed, Mackenzie, it was nice to see you as well. Can't thank you enough for all you do, you show up to, and participate in. It means the world. You guys have yourselves a great week. We love you all. Take care of yourself. Stay safe and tight lines. The ice is retreating and the soft water season is just around the corner. Till then, you take care. And hopefully we get to see you again next Monday. Bye for now. Take care. Peace.
Gotta love Shimano products.
Gotta love Shimano.
Gotta love Shimano. Have my Shimano hat here.
Gotta love Shimano.
Gotta love Shimano.
Gotta love Shimano.
Gotta love Shimano. Shimano bag right here. Gotta love Shimano.
Gotta love Shimano.
Gotta love Shimano.
Shimano rules. Just using my new Shimano Convergence I picked up on the weekend. So, hey, that's a bonus.
Gotta love that new Shimano Symetra RH. Gotta love Shimano.
Gotta love Shimano. Show off your Shimano pliers.
You gotta love your Shimano. Oh, what I say?
You always gotta love Shimano. Got my Shimano 2500 HG FX right here.
Shimano rules. Fish on, guys.